Hello, everyone. It's it's Michael B. The reason I wanted to go live tonight is it's been so long, and I just felt like I haven't been online enough in the last 5 days. Man, oh man, what a freaking weekend. We had that crazy sale, and then we had crazy sales again today. But tonight we're talking about something a little bit different. We'll talk about the sales too, because everybody's talking about the sales. But what I wanted to talk about is something else that came out of the last week when we met a new employee from Arcade1Up named Liv. And once she told me her history working with Hasbro Pulse, an idea formed in my head that Arcade1Up might be going in a new direction that is very exciting. Anyways, we're going to talk all about that. Plus, I get a special guest, which I'm going to introduce right after this.
Yeah! What is going on?
Fun fact, Justin, I know people don't like intros, but that intro really, really smacks. I really like it. And it's actually the beginning of the song. That's my intro song. They're both the same song.
What you did there.
Yeah.
I see what you did there. It's very good.
Anyways, thank you so much. Thank you so much for joining me. It's been so long since we've got to do a stream together.
I know. We need to do this more often, right? Like, I haven't seen you in ages.
It's been so long. One thing I do want to say really quickly, you might notice I still have the branding up on the screen from the event we did this weekend. That's because if you look in the chat, it's pinned in the chat. It's also pinned in the description of the video. Please tonight, do not super chat me. I have them open still, but do not super chat me. Please just go to this link in the chat or that link down there. And if you wanted to do anything, please make a donation to the American Red Cross. Arcade1Up doesn't really have anything to do with this anymore, but B's got the donations open. And if I can actually just see if I can figure out how to get this up on screen, Justin, I'm not good at this stuff. I'm going to tell you the truth. But let me just share the screen here. Share screen right here.
You got this, man.
I got it. I got
it.
Is. So we are up to $4,715.99 of our total amount right now. Please keep donating. Who knows? Maybe we'll do something special down the line. Moat talked about removing more hair from his body or something. I can't remember everything, but yeah. So let's see if we can get to 5,000 at least. I know that would be a big deal. So anybody, if you want to give, don't give to me. Please go ahead. Keep supporting the American Red Cross. The work they do is ever so important, and B's a good dude, so help out, guys.
Yeah. And we are going to bring you satisfaction today because the theory that you have, Michael B., I think is a very good theory. He gave me a glimpse of what we're going to be talking about, and I can't wait to discuss it.
What are we talking about? I completely forget.
Liv Tyler. From Aerosmith. We're totally going to get Revolution X.
That's right. I remember. So, guys, this past week, it's been a whirlwind. Anybody who's done not-for-profit, like event coordination with volunteers and stuff like that, you'll understand how busy this week was, specifically for B. Like, God bless B and the team from Arcade1Up. These guys went above and beyond. Sure, we were online for a bunch, and Justin, you tried to help them out with the actual sales component because you have some experience with that. But I mean, they're the ones that did the most of the work. But the cool thing was we got to meet some of the additional Arcade1Up team, not just John D. And the first person we were introduced to was Liv. So Liv is a new hire from with Arcade1Up. And the first thing she told us was, with my previous history, I come from Hasbro Pulse. And bells and whistles started going off in my head then at that point.
That's right. First of all, she was very kind and nice, which is very different from John. So we got to get, much better
night
and day difference. Whereas John, as you know, is always, narcissistic and conceited. She was actually pleasant to communicate with. It was fantastic.
Yeah, she was pretty good, and she was excellent to work with, and I didn't really get to ask a couple questions, but she did explain her history for Hasbro Pulse, and I got to make a couple jokes while we were there about their direct-to-consumer and beefing that up, and they were very open and saying, well, that's something we're looking to do. And it's pretty clear to the public too. We've heard this past year that Arcade1Up are coming out with new cabinets in the Pro Series line. Even though we know they're delayed, they announced them, and those are going to be direct to consumer, as well as we saw Dragon's Lair come out, which was direct to consumer. But when it came out, there was a very special message on the box and special packaging that said Private Reserve. So is this two new lines possibly coming out from Arcade1Up that are going to be direct from consumer? And are we going to see more special cabs like this in the near future?
It's a really interesting topic because you can take a look at that Dragon's Lair, and it says it's this U.S. online exclusive, and we haven't actually seen that a ton, especially from a cabinet like this. $649 Dragon's Lair arcade machine. You come down, and it's missing something, and that is it's also available at Best Buy. I think the exception is, if I'm correct, this is available in Canada. Is that right?
That's right, at the Brick, because as some people may know, there's an extremely large shipping amount to Canada. I think it's like $160 to me. Then I have to pay tax and duty on top of that. So like anytime I buy something direct from Arcade1Up, I'm looking at an additional like $400 by the time it gets to my door.
Right. I think Brick is almost like an extension of their direct-to-consumer line, if you will. Hold on. Someone's saying my mic was low, so I'm cranking it up. Hopefully it's a little bit better now. Anyway, so it's probably too loud. I'm actually talking quietly is what I'm doing. Okay, so we have that $649 Dragon's Lair, and the concept is this the beginning of a more specialty cabinet that's only available direct to consumer with basically few exceptions? And now, Mike, why do you think they would do something like that? What would be the advantages of trying to do that?
Well, and one is one that you guys have talked about on One Up Weekly many, many, many times. When you're talking about will Arcade1Up make a cabinet, one of the downturns of that is, well, they got to sell it to retailers. So, like, we want to see all these great arcade cabinets of the past, like these marquee titles. But then you've got John and the sale. Well, I don't know if it's John specifically, but the sales team going to the distributors, and they're saying, hey, guys, we've got Cabinet X, track and field. Let's make this a happen. And then the distributors are like, well, we don't know what that is. The Walmarts, the Best Buys, the Targets, they're like, we don't see any interest in a track and field. That's not something we would sell. So then that cab goes from something they want to do to something they can't do. But what if there was another option?
Right. And that gets me actually pretty excited, because what we did here is actually the retailer. Not always. The retailer adds a lot of advantage. It gives Arcade1Up a ton of reach. They're not going to be able to sell that many Pac-Mans on their own. But some of their competitors are more of a direct-to-consumer, right? Like if you think of other products that are in the retro gaming space, a lot of them actually do sell direct-to-consumer. But I think there's some examples where the retailer, I want to talk about this for a second, where the retailer actually screwed the consumer. And I'm not really sure if I can pull that up really quick. I don't have a picture of it, but it's the Cabaret cabinet, right?
Yeah.
And from what I've heard is that Arcade1Up wanted to make like essentially a replica Cabaret, right? And it's not always the case that Arcade1Up gets the 100% vote on that. And there was some type of, it looks too plain, we should put like more Pac-Mans on it. It's like, no, you don't get it. You don't get it. And that's an interesting one, because I want to say that that's where, if the retailer made that suggestion that it should have more Pac-Man icons on it and shouldn't look more like the original, even the general public, I would say, would have preferred it to look more like the original. Or like, do you really think even someone walking by at Sam's Club would be like, that's too plain, I'm not going to get it? Or are they just going to say, that looks like an arcade cabinet? That's Pac-Man. That's great.
You know what? If that had 3 more stickers, that would be in my cart today.
3 more stickers. But I wonder how much of that is like on Dragon's Lair. If you look at Dragon's Lair, they got so much of it right. Is it because they had no outside influences that were telling them, no, change this, because that's not going to sell at Walmart, that's not going to sell here? And really, I think their constraints on this cabinet was, will it fit in the box? Can they get the monitor and the second screen and all of these items to fit in the box? That was their challenge. And they're like, we're gonna make it look good. You know,
100%. Did you watch Avengers: Age of Ultron?
I'm sure I did, but I can't remember the details of every of those
So
movies.
here's John D walking out knowing he doesn't have to sell this to retailers. There ain't no strings on me. No, there ain't no strings on me.
Yeah, so it gets excited because there's a number of cabinets that we wish to have that we know Walmart's totally not going to pick up.
Yeah.
And that's where we're at, where we're like, give us those specialty items, right? And maybe we're going to get those.
There's another side of it too. Like we can't just be here taking just one side of it. We also know that when Arcade1Up sells a cabinet direct to consumer, they make a lot more money from doing so, right? The consumers aren't buying these cabinets from Arcade1Up at the price we see on the website. So when Arcade1Up does that directly, that's more money back in their pockets to do more stuff, less risk on a title as well. So when Arcade1Up can say sell a SKU of 3,000 direct to consumer and do it well, that limits their risk instead of having to put it out to the retailer and maybe taking, I don't know what the percentage the retailer buys it for, but you understand what I mean. Like there's less risk on their end.
Yeah, I wonder if well, in the case of Golden Axe, I think that was one where they did direct to consumer, and then at some point they couldn't sell off the rest, so they lowered the price and then sold it off to some retailers. So I guess there's always that. There's always that. You do a track and field, you make 5,000 of them because they do the guess of how many will buy, and only 3,000 end up selling after 3 months, and they're like, and then they got, what are they going to do with the extra 2,000? They either liquidate or they liquidate commercially by selling him for $100 a piece or something like that to a retailer. I don't really know. I really wish I knew all the details of those numbers because I want to say I'm just guessing here. So let's imagine this Dragon's Lair was sold at wholesale.
Yeah.
Would they sell it for $300? Let's say they sell it for $300. They sell it to $300 and it's almost like a 50% or something like that. I don't really know the exact numbers, but the point is if they're going to sell it at retailer, they might make 10,000, and then they're going to sell it at wholesale, so they'll make less money, but they'll have the volume. But if they make it directly, maybe they're only going to make 3,000 of them, but they'll make $400 per machine. I don't know. You know what I mean? It's like they always want to go with the retailer up to this point, and I think it's because they do make a lot of money off of it. Otherwise, they would just sell everything direct, right?
Yeah,
Or they need the help in marketing, maybe?
Well, there's help in marketing. There's other factors involved with it too, because Nine Scorpions makes a good point here. I said it's less risk from a return perspective, but it's not less risk overall because there is cost associated with selling it directly. I mean, you're going to have to market yourself. You're going to have to push these. You're going to have to work on your sales figures. But there's also holding on to the inventory. They've got to store it. So we get it. Like as much as there's more better return, so the risk against the return is higher, but there's still more risk up front. I don't know if I'm saying that right, but you know what I mean.
Well, here's the thing. What would really help is if they had someone... They could hire someone that has experience specifically doing this, and they could give that experience and say, this is the formula where it works.
Exactly. If only there was somebody out there that worked in some kind of field doing direct-to-consumer sales, big promotions that way, that knows how to package and market and advertise these special products from a company.
Right. And can do event organizing, and maybe that's part of the marketing too, and maybe get a whole bunch of influencers to be in her pocket so that when these new deals come out, it's all highly coordinated and explained and expressed, and it always starts with, yes, it comes with a BOE monitor. I digress.
Yeah, just, guys, simply, on the description, comes with a beautiful 5x4 monitor, comes with a beautiful 4x3. Just say it.
Just say it, right?
Just say it. So Arcade1Up's new slogan, just say it. It's like Nike, just do it. Just say it. So anyways, we got Liv. So Liv is coming from Hasbro Pulse. I'm not that familiar with Hasbro Pulse, but I know the idea behind it, and I don't know how long she's been there. But you can see what's been going on, especially with the Dragon's Lair, the way that it's packaged, the naming around it, calling it limited reserve, is definitely a more planned approach than maybe some of the private releases they've had in the past. Like people forget that Burger Time, Marvel Superheroes, and Golden Axe were all those cabinets that they did in the past. And I think the funny thing was they like Marvel Superheroes ended up selling directly the one that you guys got the limited reserve through the brick. So did Burger Time, and Burger Time ended up being a widespread widespread release here in Canada. Every retailer had them, and I think the idea originally is to sell it direct to consumer, but you might be right that eventually they realized direct to consumer didn't work. Let's sell these at a lower price to some marketers to get them out there. Or maybe they've just got enough data from the sale internally that now they can turn around and say, see, there is a demand for these. Maybe you guys would pick these up and sell these through retail.
It could be. It could be. There is that approach where they release the cabinets direct to consumer first. They're like, we don't have the reach you guys have. Only imagine what you could do. The market's still not fully penetrated, so there's still opportunity, right? And maybe it's a win-win. Either way, enough to get, say, like a project greenlit, a project funded, a project that's near and dear to our heart. We're going to see things like Qbert. Did I say that out loud? Robotron, totally. Some of these XL cabinets and Pros.
Yeah.
But the evil side of it is still there. They have to battle the big boss of inflation, battle the big boss of rising prices of chips. They're not immune to it by any means. And all the conversations that we've had with John recently is them talking about how they wanted to make so many more cabinets this year. And we've been like, where are the releases? Where are the releases? Inflation ate them. It's like...
It is what it is. I mean, I've heard a couple different stories from a lot of people this year that this is going to be a down year in retail anyways. I've heard from another company, that they've actually scaled back production on a lot of products just because they don't see with a supposed recession coming or whatever it is, they don't see an opportunity really to do a lot of stuff. And then, of course, we have the shipping issues that we've been talking about nonstop. Everything's so expensive to get things over from China, from North Korea, wherever it's coming from, that almost some retailers are pulling back, while larger retailers like Mattel, and I can't remember the other ones, they're using their robust size to hog some of the shipping containers and willing to pay above true value prices to make sure their stuff gets over first. So smaller companies, and let's be honest here, Arcade1Up's awesome, but it's still Tastemakers is small when it comes to that toy and entertainment market compared to some of these other people. I mean, it's going to be a struggle for them to get their stuff over compared to other retailers. So this is going to be a weird year, and maybe that scaled back production of some stuff.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. Do you remember when we started this stream what our donations were at?
We were, oh my God, holy God. Thank you so much, everybody. Guys, huge news. Kits, you got it there. I'll bring it up on screen here.
Yeah.
We did it. $5,000. You guys are awesome.
I have to find shirts to put on. We have to put more clothes on, right?
We're putting more. I think that's why people donated tonight. They were like, oh, my eyes, the goggles do nothing. Please don't take the clothes off.
Yeah, we promise if you continue to donate, we will not take our clothes off. We might take our pants off, but you won't be able to see that.
Anthony, I got news for you, buddy. Pants were never on.
Let's see. Hold on a second. I want to take a look at that.
Pastafarian said he donated 300. Was he serious?
Wow, that's great. And Travis, there we go. Yeah, he sure did. Look at that
Whoa.
right there. Thanks, guys. Helped you hit the 5K. What is that? I don't even know what word that is.
Try to afford two counter kits, spending more for the cause. Michael B and Justin console kits. Pastafarian.
What does try to for mean?
Tried for.
Oh,
the A is accidental. A
is accidental. Tried for two counter kits. I was like, I'm learning. I love this podcast. I'm learning what try to for means,
Pastafarian, that is so cool, man. Thank you so friggin' much, man. Huge donation. Going to a really good cause. Thank you very much.
Yeah, that is absolutely amazing. Fantastic.
Ashley Bradley thanks you as well. Thank you very much, Ashley.
Yeah. Let's get this is what I'm gonna do. Everyone hit a 1 in the chat for how do you pronounce his name? I don't know.
The Pastafarian.
The Pastafarian. Oh, I like that. I like that very much. Yeah, man. I'm just like kind of dumbfounded by the generosity of this group for a great cause. That's just fantastic. Your show, Mike. You need to talk next.
I'm dumbfounded as well. Let's just sit here and look at the... Thank you very much, Pastafarian. But we're going to get back to this now. So I do want to go back and talk about some of the releases from Arcade1Up. You've got one before you, which is arguably, was it the first one that they tried to do? Which was the Marvel Superheroes with the Samwa controls. Because that was the big complaint when the first wave of Arcade1Ups came out. Even though the screens were kind of shitty on the first wave compared to the BOEs, most of the complaints were really about the controls. People were like, the sticks suck. Should be Samwa. Should be Samwa. Should be Samwa. People from Arcade1Up came out and said, listen, guys, you're on a whole different price level there. So they decided that the way they can make this work was they don't do the portion going to the retailers. It's got to be direct to consumer so they can recoup all the costs that way. So you get your direct to consumer Marvel Superheroes cab. It came in that beautiful Tony Stark Iron Man box. Like,
it did.
Really cool first attempt at this private reserve type cab.
That's right. That was them testing their waters, and we don't have it pictured here, but just for, I think it had a trim that's kind of yellowish, if you will. And
that's right.
It had a very unique, special riser on the front. And, they tried out the idea that there was going to be a limited quantity. So you got the certificate, they got the Sanwa controls, and they tried it out. And it was a little bit more expensive than what you could find from the retailers, that same version. But it wasn't like double the price or anything like that. But you got a lot more for it. I remember John D said, they'd probably try to get in the future, which I do think, like, essentially Dragon's Lair is like this year's version of the Marvel Superhero Limited Edition. And they really did, if you think about it, like, instead of Sanwa on the Dragon's Lair, they tested out, what if we do like a straight up scoreboard, right? Like, that's pretty special, And I don't know if a retailer would have invested in a product like that. They'd be like, Walmart's all like, give us a Pac-Man without a riser. We can move those. It doesn't matter. But the community really did enjoy the idea of a Sanwa already built in. It was something special. And but now they're doing, like, it's not just a slight variant of a cabinet they're already doing. It's dedicated cabinet, so it is different. It's like freaking Dragon's Lair, and it's the only way you can get it.
Yeah, that's it for now. 8,000-ish.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes. I mean, we don't know their sales numbers, and so maybe they've only sold 1,000 of them, and
there's a guy here by the name of Console Fanboy, who I very much enjoyed watching him play Mortal Kombat last night, and hope that he starts doing this more regularly. If you never got a chance to watch it out, Zohar is very, very, very good at Mortal Kombat, and we had a great time watching him play P-Dubs. To be honest, P-Dubs came pretty close to beating him, and watching him sweat was very entertaining too.
Yes. If you don't know about it, Sunday, Console Fanboy did his first live stream. It's embarrassing how good he is at doing a live stream. Yeah. I'm all like, I've been doing this for like 2 or 3 years, and he knocked it out of the park right away. One of the things that was great about it, he just talks. He's sitting there by himself in a room talking to a camera, but he kept the conversation going, and he got like 80 people there on his first live stream, like almost no marketing. I think someone said they linked it on the Facebook group, but it was super entertaining. And I think what made it super entertaining was P-Dubs almost beat him.
Yeah,
it was, and P-Dubs like, I got him figured out. Yeah. So it'll be exciting. I want to see a rematch and see where that show goes.
Also, his downright refusal to play Mortal Kombat 3 was interesting as well, because we were like, is he going to play it? Is he going to play it? Then he started and he was like, oh, thank God someone's on Mortal Kombat.
Yeah, good stuff. Good stuff. Yeah, I was trying to figure out how to tie Zohar to live. I can't make the stretch. No, I can't wind it.
There's no stretch to be made. I think what we need to transition to now is we know Liv. We've met her. We
Mm-hmm.
saw her on the streams. You guys would have saw her on the streams over the weekend as well. She's going to be working with Arcade1Up, focus on direct to consumer. We can already tell Arcade1Up are moving in a more direct to consumer field right now with pros and with these special reserve cabs coming forward. So what do we think this means? Does it just mean more direct to consumer options, or are they going to come up with maybe some kind of program where we can look at what these cabs are going to be? Is this going to be more special cabs, or, we've talked about, and John D has kind of hinted in the community before, maybe even about a special Kickstarter type order process like they did with the Infinity Game Table. Is that something we could see from cabs like a Cubert with a knocker in the near future?
Yeah, what'd be really cool is if they're going to come, let's say once a year, they'll make a community edition, like a Dragon Slayer. And they started to do this with KI, because I was involved in that. John D reached out to me and Ralph, 1UP Weekly, and said, hey, we're going to show you pictures of KI.
Yeah.
But we just saw pictures of, I think it was Mortal Kombat. We saw, and by the way, the version of Mortal Kombat that we saw has never been released, if I recall correctly. Maybe. It's different than the Mortal Kombat 30th anniversary. It was different.
Yeah.
I think the 30th anniversary is better than the 35th anniversary. 30th anniversary. I think it's better than what we saw like a year ago. Anyway.
Oh, yeah.
So he showed us that, and then he showed us KI. We're like, no, like you got it right. The screen tilt back, the marquee, and all this. And he's literally just writing it down. And we're like, oh, the logo's on the front now. And he's like, I have to do the logos. Like, I can't remove the logo. It's part of the agreement. And we're like, can you make them small and at the bottom? And you got to do the coin door, right? We're like, because the version we had no coin door. So we're like, put the coin door on there, So then he's like, okay, but I got to have the logo. So we have to. And he literally was in Photoshop, John D himself. And he's like changing things literally because he knows Photoshop. He was getting in those layers and like changing it.
Yeah, he knows Photoshop very well. Like
almost like Sharon Peters, right?
Sharon Peters will.
That's right. But my point is then we were like, hey, we don't want special treatment. Like, we should show this to the community and tell them, like, what do you think? Give us feedback. And I can't remember whose idea that was, but whoever said it, like, everyone was like, yes, tomorrow's show. Like, he's like, screw it. I don't even care. We're going to leak this.
Yeah.
Like straight up, like, we're going to leak KI. And I'll ask for forgiveness. And it was kind of like, do you like this version or that version? So it was getting the community to give feedback. But it would be really cool if we could do that again, but just extreme transparency, where it's just like, we're going to do Cubert. What would you hate if we did wrong? Like, does it have to have knockers? Could the knockers be an add-on? Would you prefer the sound, coming through the speaker? I don't know, like, just...
See, the knocker one's not really hard. Like, if they had the source parts that are already out there, I would say, wow, it must be tough for them to get. But they already have solenoids from their pinball builds. So, I mean, I'm sure there's a warehouse somewhere where they've got some extra solenoids sitting around saying, yeah, we can spare a couple thousand of these for a Cubert.
Yeah, for sure. I don't think that would be an issue. No knockers, no buy. That's pretty funny.
It's bring your own knockers. We discussed this, guys.
Yeah. But I definitely think I think they could move 3,000 Cubert. And what I heard is it's something like direct to consumer, a little bit above 3,000 is a single run. It's enough where they can get their investment back, depending on how different it is from the original. Because it's like, if you're gonna do like a cabinet that requires an extreme special control deck, that's a lot of product development time, and that may exceed what they would get back from a 3,000. But we've already heard Cubert is like turn the joystick 45 degrees and you're good, right?
Yeah, that's it. And someone said something about it having a very special joystick, and maybe it does, but it's from what I understand, it's just a diagonal joystick. You're just going to turn it sideways. Just right. 45.
Yeah, and it may be even just like, is it the gate that you move, or do you have to move the entire thing? Either way, they could figure it out. It's like, that's a simple one.
Cubert's just a joystick on the 45.
Yeah, and maybe the knocker is a little bit of extra work on a PCB because they got to get a wire to the knocker, and they have to have a signal from the ROM to be able to trigger that it actually happens. Everyone's going to hate it if it has delay. But that's just like one little, like, can you work that out?
It's a regular 4-way mounted at a 45-degree angle. So Q*bert is, in fact, on the 45. And there's Zero Hero. I'm sorry, Zero Hero. Star Wars Trilogy or Q*bert. Zero Hero and Garage Gamer single-handedly running the campaign on Twitter saying, why the hell are people wanting Q*bert? We need more 90s games.
No, hold on a second, though. But I don't think a Star Wars Trilogy is going to be a direct-to-consumer. That's Walmart.
Oh, yeah, that's a retail.
A Star Wars Trilogy, like, yeah, they're going to make tens of thousands of those, and they'll sell at Walmart. They'll have that retailer pickup, no problem. There could be an issue if the consumers demand an XL version, and an XL version really is pricey, and retailers may not want that. And there probably isn't any profit in an XL because of cost of goods are so high.
Goofyfoot, fan of the channel, friend of the channel. No, it doesn't. Locked out 8-way, no up, down, left, right. Instead of the 45.
There's a couple triple negatives in there. Is there a comma? Is the word no after, or is no a part of? I'm not. No, it doesn't lock out 8-way. No, up, down, left, right. Can you explain that to me?
Do you ever see the episode of The Simpsons where someone comes into Lionel Hutz's office and it says no money down, or no money down contingency? And then he changes it. It's like, no, apostrophe, money down, exclamation point.
That's what I'm confused.
I knew what he meant.
I'm still lost. But yes, Knockergate. This is the prediction we have. It's going to be Knockergate.
So anyways, that seems to be where we're going with this. I'm very excited because I've been pushing very hard for John D to do a Robotron, and I hope I'm not pulling back the curtain too much, but every time I get a chance to talk to this guy, whether it's on camera or not on camera, I'll be very honest, I never get preferential treatment or any real information because, like I said, I think it was on your show last night, you asked John D a question, and he will tell you a story that doesn't really make any sense, but it's trying to give you answers. So every time I ask him about it, I get the impression that he doesn't think Robotron would be a good seller in retail. Maybe Smash TV would be a better option at retail if they were ever going to do that cab.
Well, you could always do a Mortal Kombat Defender situation because retailers aren't going to move Defender. But we're like, hey, it's a 2-for-1 special. If you buy 10,000 Mortal Kombats, we'll give you 5,000 Defenders. At some reasonable price, move them both. I don't know. They could do Smash TV. When you buy 10,000 Smash TVs, you also automatically get 3,000 Robotrons, whatever.
Yeah, I'm not sure how you do it, but Smash TV is a beautiful cab. I hope people get that, but I also hope there's an option for Robotron as well. And I always get caught up with people always say, well, you'll get Robotron, but as a collection on another cabinet, of course, there's always that too. Do you want to see your favorite game as a collection on another cabinet, or do you want to see your favorite game as the marquee game? Like for you, Justin, what's one of your favorite arcade games of all time you want to see an Arcade1Up cabinet made of?
I will give you mine, but I want to hear you in the chat as well. Just type in favorite and then your arcade. I'm wondering if John D is listening. We already got Gorf. Let's see. What's my... Okay, the Insta-Buy. Let's say the Insta-Buy is probably Star Wars Trilogy, although I played that recently, and people say the Sega Genesis 32X version is very similar. I played that under emulation, and it actually wasn't very fun. I need to play it more. Yeah. Like, I only had like a minute or two to play it. I'm like, this game's not fun at all. Like, I just couldn't get into it. So, maybe I'm hyping Star Wars Trilogy myself.
John D says, who isn't smitten? Who isn't smitten with 19K Fox?
That's right.
Did you see, did you watch his show last night after we got off your show, 19K Foxes? And people were giving him a hard time. They were like, whoa, dude, I really expected a 6-pack. And he was like, hey, he's at the top too.
He's like, he's implying there's more under there, right? He's like, but the camera, I would have been like, I was waiting for that. I like tilted my camera up and, it's like, hey, the camera adds 10 pounds, right?
Oh, yeah. I had a magic disappearing shirt. I don't know if you saw that.
That was amazing. That was the magic disappearing. So if you don't mind, I'm going to run through. See, 32X Star Wars is it's a tough play. I got to play it some more because But then again, since I never play my cabs and I'm a collector, I'd still buy it. You know, like, here's the thing. Like, I'm all about, like, I'll buy Tron. Don't care if I don't play it. But I didn't buy Tron because I remember as a kid watching that movie and I just didn't get it. And I think I've seen it again, and my wife's like, "Oh, Tron is so good. Let's watch Tron." And I'm like, "Okay," so I watch it, and I'm like, "What's happening again?" Like, I think I was too young. It must have been like 3 when I saw it or something.
Yeah.
And it just just didn't get it.
Yeah, I know what you mean, but like I've watched Tron a bunch of times now, and I completely understand. But I get it. And one of the things that's really confusing about Tron is the multiple characters, and especially when you're young, that's hard to follow. Like how there was a Jeff Bridges in the machine and then outside the machine, and you're like, one's a program and one's the real Jeff Bridges. Like, what's going on here?
And then the problem is it's Jeff Bridges, right?
Yeah,
it's that. He's really good in some. Tony Stark made it in a cave. With a bunch of scraps.
Oh, he was fantastic in the first Iron Man.
Yeah, he's just amazing.
And the dude is iconic, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, fantastic. So we got some Marvel vs. Capcom 2. There's rumors that you'll be happy. Now, is he talking about Cliffhanger, the movie, or the video game?
Is he talking about that? It's on. Here's where, we talked about this. We touched on this last night, and this is going to be something for next week's show. That's a title, if I'm not mistaken. It's on the At Games Legends Ultimate already, and I don't know if it's on iArcade as well. It's like Cliffhanger, and it's that secret agent game. Yeah.
And if we ended the show right now, it would be a cliffhanger. So
anyway. Until next week, we'll come back to that.
So Hang On and Super Hang On. I think that's fantastic that I've actually heard multiple people say that they would love that. I have not played that game maybe ever. I've seen it at arcades.
Yeah.
It's out of order. And then it was at an auction and it was like $75 at an auction. And they were playing with it. It didn't work. Literally after the auction was over, the guy plugged it in and it turned on. And they was like, everyone was like, what? Like the PCB, like it's got some issues in it, but the fact that it turned on, it was hang on. Like I was going to bid on it, but I didn't. But anyway, it needed a little work, but not as much as people thought.
Yeah, Danzy, I will check afterwards, but I'm pretty sure it's on At Games. It might even be on iArcade too. I'll check afterwards. So, I mean, like we talked about on was it your show last night? We talked about it. Usually when a title's already out there, it hits Arcade1Up in the risk portfolio saying, we could make this on a cabinet, but you can play it other ways. So we don't know if it's special enough to justify us making a cabinet around it.
Right. And I think one of their specialties they have is, they could do it online, the Wi-Fi, is it a competition game? Can they create a community out of it? Can they make a specialty like Dragon's Lair? So there's a number of games that are in this list, like, I'm sorry.
Oh, sorry, you go ahead.
Like your Capcom versus SNK 2, where, I mean, maybe they would retail. It's kind of thing. It's like, I'm the focus of the show, I think, is could Liv from Arcade1Up use her experience to help broaden the direct-to-consumer line for titles that are more specialty that the community would enjoy, whereas the other games that are highly popular, maybe like an Afterburner, maybe, or a Spy Hunter. Some of these, I wonder if a retailer would just pick them up, and that would be just easier for Arcade1Up to do it. I wonder how that works. Still, it's like, could she be so good that she could build it up to the point where Arcade1Up would just do a direct-to-consumer on a big title and just be like, we got this?
Kanzaros? Sure. We would love that, actually.
Wait, like right now?
Right now? Yes.
We'll just ask her directly.
That's right. Direct
cool.
to consumers.
Oh, nice. That's good.
Right?
Time Pilot. I think this is coming, right? Like you mentioned it on the show before. Like how would they do a Time Pilot?
I don't think they would do a Time Pilot. I think Time Pilot will end up being back on a Konami legacy that we are going to see in the future. I think you can expect to see another Konami game. John D's talked about it. They have the right art for Frogger now due to their partnership with Sega. A lot of people don't know this, but it's like Pole Position. Pole Position is, I think it's a Bandai Namco game that was released by Atari, so Atari owned the rights to the actual artwork on the cabinet. Same thing with Frogger. Frogger, even though it's a Konami game, was actually released by Sega, so Sega owned the rights to the artwork.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah. And hopefully they can get that fixed for a lot of them, right? Like where it's these, one owns the artwork and the other one doesn't, and be like, hey, like, what is John gonna do? Be like, I'll scratch your back, you scratch mine, you know, like you give us the license for this artwork and I'll get that company, give you the license. I don't know. Whatever.
I think John already told us he's going to do a Sega cabinet for Sega, Sonic cabinet for Sega, so you can get the artwork.
That is true. Is like, keep in mind, sometimes there's cabs that come out that no one understands. He's like, sometimes that's just helping out. You know, it's a negotiate. You give me, I'll give you this, you know, and then let me have, you know, whatever this other title is.
Sega, what do you want in order to get us do the Frogger artwork? You got to make a Sonic cap. Son of a, I wish I never offered that.
Yeah, so Mr. Do is an interesting one people are talking about because I don't know if they'll do it because it's a Taito game, right? And the best cabinet to put it on would be a Namco cabinet. But Namco's never going to allow Mr. Do to sit next to Dig Dug, right?
No, and these are the challenge. We talked about that too. These are the challenges of licensing that I too at one point was just looking at this and I'm like, well, if they do like a Simpsons Konami cab, they've got to be able to put like Sunset Riders and Violent Storm and other stuff on it. And, you know, I'm very naive at this point. And then I get a little bit more information about it. And I'm like, yeah, they can't put shit on that. They got to just put Simpsons stuff on it. That's it. That's the way it works.
Right. I mean, it depends, right? So like if it's a big IP like The Simpsons, then when you go and have that conversation, can we get The Simpsons? It's probably a bigger, harder thing to actually get the rights for The Simpsons. So you're making a Simpsons cabinet because that's the sales pitch. We're like, we're going to make you a cabinet based on your IP. We already have Konami on board. It's not a Konami cabinet. It's a Gracie Films cabinet, or it's a a Fox cabinet. It's a Simpsons cabinet. You're talking to the Simpsons people on that one, right?
That's right. Like you got no choice. Who are you talking to at Simpsons? Gracie Films still. I still remember that right from the beginning. Do you have to talk to Tracy Ullman? Like, I'll call Tracy Ullman right now if I've got to.
Yes, Tracy Ullman is who you need to pick up the phone and talk to.
Tracy, we're putting Violent Storm on this thing.
Do whatever you want. Sinistar, please, Tapper. So I put it to you. I'm gonna ask you the question now. Besides Robotron, because everyone knows your answer on Robotron, what, unique favorite cabinet that they otherwise probably wouldn't make, but you think they could and would, and you would totally buy it?
You know what I think is a really cool one that might not have the mainstream appeal to get into stores, and it's already a game on another cabinet, sort of, but I've always said, and I know it's not an arcade big favorite, but I think it's one that a lot of arcade collectors love to have in their house. Tapper. Tapper is such a unique and beautiful arcade cabinet. I would love to see Arcade1Up do a dedicated 3/4 scale for our consumers.
Yes. Someone commented on a video recently and was like, I think it was from our show that we did together, and they were like, they need to make like a proper Tapper.
Oh,
you know? And I learned about this at a recent auction. They had a Tapper. It was a brand new machine, went for $1,800. So it was built new. But it had original hardware in it, and that's one of the reasons why it was going well. So it had an LCD, but it was like perfect, right? Everything about it was perfect. And the guy shouted, someone's like, what's this got inside it, And he's like, it's the real deal. But it had timber and Tapper, on the same machine using like a ROM switch.
Yeah.
Right. So it was the same hardware. And you know what I'm thinking about, actually? That was a timber machine, not a tapper machine. And have you seen the timber machine?
Oh, the timber machine is cool too. Like most of these home arcade collectors, they'll have both of them as end cap cabinets. So you'll have tapper on one side and then right behind it timber. Timber's a beaut too.
Yeah, I'm almost wondering if that's the way they go.
You still go with tapper. Tapper is the.
You think so?
Yeah, because Tapper also has appeal to be a home bar game as well. It has some cross appeal. Like people are going to put tappers in their home bar, right? Arcade collectors, that's what they do. Budweiser Tapper in their home bar.
Remember when Arcade1Up did that where they like partnered with Bush or something like that? Bush beer? And they had a refrigerator inside an NBA Jam or something?
Yes, I do.
Whatever happened to that? It was like some marketing thing, and
I think Cool Toys sued them.
They settled, and Cool Toy gave them some ROMs, and then they were all.
And he got happy. Pinball tables. Everybody's good.
Everyone's happy. That's a good choice. That's a good one. So you would buy that, huh?
100% day one.
You'd kind of turn your arcade into a little bar area then?
No. I'm not doing the bar thing. I just want it for the arcade. Like I'm very clear on my demands here. It's gameplay, but it's also aesthetics down in my home arcade in my basement. That's what I want to see.
I wish I could grow up and be like you. I'm just all aesthetics. Road Blasters, we talked about this yesterday about how John's response to Road Blaster was basically the same controls as Star Wars.
Yeah.
Which is his way of saying, we totally could do it. Who knows? We'll find out. Not confirmed.
I like Road Blasters. Does it have enough of an appeal to be a marquee game?
What game would you put as the marquee instead of that with those controls from Atari?
I don't know. I can't answer you on that, but this is so hard, right? Because we're bringing up, sometimes we forget that arcades are such a niche hobby, like real arcades, right? Mm-hmm. So I understand why Arcade1Up, like I make the joke all the time, Arcade1Up hates 80s arcade enthusiasts, but it's such a niche hobby at the same time. So I get it. So like Road Blasters 100% is a huge title in the home arcade community. So
right.
Yeah.
It's hard to say because like Road Blasters 1987, right? But there's some other, like your pole position is earlier, and there's a couple other games, but it doesn't have the same. It's more of that round steering wheel. And if you put the Road Blasters on a pole position, people are like, no, you have to make.
Doesn't work.
You can't do that, you know. But maybe you could do Road Blasters. You can't do it because if you do Road Blasters and then just put pole position as a secondary game, people will be like, whoa, I wanted pole position.
You can't do pole position. Pole position's not Atari.
Oh, I keep on forgetting because it's like it's
Bandai Namco. Yeah,
it says Atari on it, right? Or it did.
Atari has the art. Atari released it. It's the whole Konami, Frogger, Sega thing. Yeah.
Yes, because that's one of I always say pole position Atari because it comes from literally I'm 4 years old at Putt Putt Golf in where was it, in Dallas, Texas, and me trying to figure out how quarters in a pole position, and then that later I probably couldn't read at the time, but I recognized that logo.
It was like when Big Reese was talking about the Double Dragon cabinet. And I don't know if it was him or somebody in his chat was saying, "Oh man, I'd love to see a Taito Legacy," and I was like, "Butt liquor, it's not a Taito game." He's not a butt liquor. That's a joke me and Justin have been doing for days.
Yeah. But whenever you shout at someone, that's what you say.
So it's not a Taito game, but it had that giant, ugly Taito art on the side of the cabinet, which meant more than likely they weren't going to do Double Dragon 1 art on a Arcade1Up Double Dragon cabinet.
Yeah, 19K Fox cracked the code. He's like, just puts, I think he's trying to. He's typing on his phone. I think
Star Wars on a Robotron cap.
Yeah, just or put Road Blasters on Star Wars.
Yeah,
it's all Atari. I don't think they could get away with it, but
Robotron
that's a Star Wars cabinet.
Yeah, you could put Robotron on a Star Wars cab, but I think that would be Mystery Encoder and not Arcade1Up.
That's right. And then
Yeah.
because I think but Road Blasters doesn't have the ability to shift it this way.
Oh, it doesn't? Yeah. So it has to be locked.
It's locked, right? So you
Yeah.
just turn and shoot. Although that would be a cool way to accelerate. I mean, a one-off. I mean, don't do it that way. You put pedal at the bottom, right?
So I guess we could talk about the elephant in the room. There was a game that John talked about quite a lot that I found very interesting. Now, I don't have a lot of personal experience with it, but he did talk a lot about it. We did it on Rapid Fire last night, and this seems like a perfect game to do like a special reserve copy of 720. It's such a unique cabinet.
Excuse me. Yeah, that's an interesting one, but that was also one where it would have to be one game. Is that right?
100%.
It's so weird how, because did you put out a video today about the deals?
No, I didn't put out a video today. Today was very busy.
Yeah,
very busy.
That's right. I say that because one of the benefits of making a video about a topic, I mean, you get all these comments, right? So you read them, you heart them, you comment back if there's a question, you comment back if you want to have a little conversation. So there's a lot of like, I didn't buy it originally because it only had one game. And then it's, okay, I was on the fence, but now at that $3.99, I think I will pick up T2. Even though it only has one game, there's a lot of it only has one game, and I've been reading comments, and I'm sure you have for years as well. And it's like T2 is just like, I mean, it's like Mortal Kombat and a TN monitor. It's like you can't talk about one without the other. It's like T2, one game.
It's so hard in this community because I lose track on it a little bit sometimes because Arcade1Up, I don't look at them as a multicade company. I look at them as arcade recreation company, the purveyors of nostalgia. And I look at iArcade and AtGames as multicade companies. Well, actually, I look at AtGames as a multicade company and iArcade as an arcade console company. But when it comes to Arcade1Up, they are selling multicades. They're just very specific, limited multicades.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe semantics. It's so weird how we're like sitting here like debating about how to define the word multicade, and it's like, I don't know. Maybe this is a new product line, a new series, and home arcade is too broad and we need more words or just shut up.
I think we need more words. We need
more words.
We need to segregate. What is it? Segregate the people in the community further by coming up with different terms. You can't say it's a home arcade community. iArcade is a home console community. Arcade1Up is a, I don't know what you call it, special multicade company. And we can do it. Let's bring people up. Let's make people go apart, not bring them together.
Let's divide people more.
Yeah.
That's what we need. We need more classes, more separation. Yes, this is
100%.
Yes, it's only you come together is the worst thing.
Yeah. $4.99 super chat from Console Fanboy. Before I get to that, we do have a guest here from the American Red Cross. You may know him as BCom. But really quickly, just want to read the Console Fanboy super chat. Just realized T2 I bought as Midway. Blitz potentially is coming, and now more than ever, I need Cruisin' to complete the Midway collection. Zohar, you're getting the bug. I'm telling you right now, you're going to have a Tron before the week is out.
Imagine that. He's all like, I freaking bought the Nightlight.
Thanks, Console Fanboy. B, what's going on, brother?
What's up, man?
I feel like I'm always just working behind the scenes trying to connect dots. And I see you guys talking about this, and I was meeting with Liv earlier. And so I definitely have a direct line to her now and was just messaging her saying, you are so popular in the YouTube community now, and said, would you be interested in joining? And she laughed and said, how long will you be on? So how long will you guys be on? Will you stall enough to actually have her come on? Did you have an end time where you guys would need to be on? She might be available to say hello to the folks if you guys are willing to wait.
We could wait. How
Are we
how
talking
long
like
are we
2
talking?
hours?
Well,
Or
we're talking
like,
like 15, 20 minutes. Check the private chat. It's
Yes, we could wait. We could wait another 15 minutes or so.
cool.
oh,
Sure.
wow, okay.
Sure. So if that's the case, I just wanted to help out by connecting the dots because I think it's great that there's speculation about anything. I can always count on Michael B to think about the any type of speculation with Arcade1Up and something new. It's part marketing. It's part seeing kind of what is the possibilities of this team, and really, it's new. There are kind of some things I've heard in what she's done in the past, and it's exciting to hear what that could possibly bring to this company because she's done a lot in her previous role.
Exactly. I just want her to give. It'd be great to have her come on, explain who she is a little bit more, and maybe stoke up these fires of speculation a little bit more. Also, B, it's funny, you come on camera and you tell us you're doing a little work behind the scenes, connecting people, doing thing in the shadows, almost like the Illuminati.
Yes, we have this connection where all things happen. I just had to like put my little beeper on, and I heard my arm pulsating that you needed connection support, and off to the races we went and made those connecting dots happen. There it is. Happy to stay on until she gets back on, but or I can stay backstage.
Yeah,
whatever you guys
absolutely.
do.
Let's pose the question to. Okay, have you been watching for a little bit or?
A little bit, yeah. I caught in about halfway through.
Okay, so let's pose the question to you: if Arcade1Up was going to come out with more specialty cabinets, ones that are maybe not appeal to Walmart, but would appeal to this community. Maybe it'll have some enhancements similar to Dragon's Lair.
Yeah.
What title would be love?
I have been enamored and obsessed with a stun runner cabinet, which they could absolutely do because they've already had the yoke, which is the Atari yoke. If they could make a 3/4 scale version where you could straddle something, you imagine, and then actually try to have it play with the tilted screen. I think a 3/4 version of that could technically work, and it would work with their existing controls. And there's real ones that I've passed up several times, and they were like $500 locally, and I just don't have the space for it. But I've been enamored with the Stun Runner. If they could do one, that's been one of my favorite all-time games. It would be really fun to see that. Yes, yes, so good.
This was discussed earlier. I think we were on some live stream and maybe it was you, B? Was it? You're like, oh, Stun Runner, and I checked it out. I was like, what is this?
I love to shadow things, John. You know me too well, bro.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, this is
yes, I remember this game. Is this the one where there's a ramp up here?
Yeah,
No.
So you start without anything. Once you pass the first stage, then the gun drops, and now you have the ability to shoot things, and like you just get. So it's a combination of like this futuristic hovercraft. You can shoot things. You can almost fly. It checked all my boxes as a kid.
My gosh!
One. So like it's gonna drop on the little cannon on top, and that's when you start using the yoke. This is such a badass.
Oh, that's awesome!
It's such a cool looking thing. And then you have the gun, and then like I want a toy version of this Stun Runner machine if they ever made one. I would totally buy one. But it's super cool.
So do you know who made this?
It's Atari. It's an Atari game.
Oh man!
Oh wow!
So or you do a Road Blasters, right? And then Stun Runner is the secondary title.
Yeah, a Stun Runners, and then Spy Hunter, right? Like those are all the ones that kind of like use that similar type of controls. Those are some. That would be amazing, right? This, Road Blasters, and Spy Hunter on a cab, they all could deserve their own unique cab, but all three of those would be marquee titles to.
Look at those mountains.
Though this one would require like the cab itself was if you look for the arcade look of this cabinet, if you like look for a picture of it, it's a mount where you sit down like a futuristic motorcycle. It looks really cool. I don't know if they would pull something off like this, but that would be super fun.
Oh yes. Let me link over to that real quick. So this is just you're talking about this?
Yeah. A 3/4 scale version of that.
they could do that,
the whole straddle thing, right?
Yeah, right.
Like, they would have to go back to like the bench type model they did for the sit down outrun. Like it would have to be lower to the ground, but you could do that.
It could be done.
It's doable.
Look,
I feel like
there's the yoke.
A little something, and having fun.
I wonder if with this you wouldn't look dumb.
Yeah, any size person can play. So yeah, I don't know. I think we could make a 3/4 scale. I was going to challenge Bobby Lee to make a 3/4 scale version of it, but
So, so,
yeah, go ahead.
so let me get this straight. Justin, you said somebody on this wouldn't look dumb. Are you sure?
Now, here's a question. So, you said that you said you saw this at an auction, but like, what was wrong with it?
No, so yeah, it sold at Captain's Auctions like about
Mhm.
4 months ago. I
Mhm.
think it was like 400 or 500, and like I passed. I'm like, it was so good. And there's actually somebody local to me that was selling it, but it wouldn't go past the first stage, but for like 500. And like I was like, I want it, I want it, I want it. And for 2 weeks, I was trying to clear out stuff to make space, but I just have zero space in my garage cage
I
to
see.
do it. And I didn't have it's not one of those where I can take my SUV, just pick it up. It's like I had to coordinate somebody else to get it, and then I had to explain to my wife why I'm bringing this arcade home with additional things. And so I've let several of them go at price points that I would absolutely love to pay and play with. But I've been so enamored with having a Sunrunner cabinet that I don't know. I don't know. That's the one. That's the one that I'm really obsessed
That's a
with.
good pick.
Are trucks not prevalent in California? Like
They
here
are.
where I'm from. Yeah, but here where I'm from, people do stupid things. Like me, I'll go and buy a snowblower, and then I'm like, how the hell am I getting this home? So then I just randomly call people I know with trucks until somebody comes and meets me.
Yeah, yeah, that's a good way to go. I do have a friend with a truck and a trailer that anytime I bought in a real arcade, I just like hang out with him every 5 months because that's how
Yeah.
often I buy something. And then we pick up these giant arcades that we have no idea because they forklift it onto the trailer for you at Captain's, probably getting it off the trailer when you get home.
Yeah.
If you can.
So there's a show that you guys might not be familiar with. It's a show I knew these guys from my old YouTube life like 10 years ago, and the show's called Arcade Impossible. And so it's these one guy, Greg, mainly, and then he has a bunch of different friends with the same name that are different people that all go get arcades with him. And the funniest part is he buys the arcade, tells you a little bit of history, but then it's always watching him get it home on some little trailer or vehicle that really shouldn't have it. And then he has a basement with no entry point except for upstairs. So he's got to get down this little set of steps. It's worth it just to watch him struggle to get the arcade down in his basement. So if you ever get a chance, go check it out.
Now, Mr. Fox wanted to chime in on his pick, and he actually comes with proof that it's coming. It's coming. And so this is pretty exciting, guys. So there's a little formula to his math. What he's saying is, so first of all, Aliens is something that Hasbro Pulse has done. So you take that and you add in Liv, who works for Arcade1Up now. And what does it equal? It equals totally confirmed AVP is coming 100%. Aliens versus Predator is now confirmed, according to Fox's math. Thoughts from the panel?
I don't want to touch that one.
You don't want to burst his bubble?
Who's the Predator in that picture?
Okay.
That's true. So she does say she's about to hop on in just a little bit. So save all your questions for Liv. If you have questions that you want to ask her, put it in the chat now. We might have an opportunity to ask her direct, and we might be able to pull with you. But Michael B, you weren't expecting to actually get the person that's in your thumbnail into the stream. What would you want to ask her? Like, what are you going to ask her directly? What's the first thing you're going to ask her when she comes on?
Do you feel weird when douchebags put you in thumbnails for YouTube videos?
I have to read you the chat that I sent to her in order to get her on, because it was a little like I kind of thought about it. I was like, how do I invite this person into this random stream of YouTube communities? And I said, Liv, you're so popular among the YouTube community now, and you're doing a show speculating about what the Arcade1Up direct-to-consumer program is going to be about. And LOL, they've been talking about it for an hour already, and I wanted to shoot you an invite, no pressure. And she laughed and said how long we'll be on, and the rest is history. So shortly, you'll have her opportunity to ask her directly what the direct-to-consumer program is all about. And there it is.
That's awesome.
People will see and be the opportunity to chat.
Can we ask her directly what the direct-to-consumer program is going to be?
You have to ask her indirectly. That's the aim. Can you do an indirect to consumer question?
Indirect to consumer. Indirect.
It's really good. Well, I have my question prepared, so I'm all set to go. I can't wait.
Can't wait.
While we're waiting, B, I gotta ask you, how much, now that this is over, you've probably done about 15 postmortems. Are you starting to relax a little bit after the wildness that was last week?
For me, my portion of it has been kind of done. On the Red Cross side of things, I was just sharing with our senior leadership team that we kind of did this random thing, and it generated already this much buzz, not only for Arcade1Up, but for Red Cross. This is such a win-win-win for so many people, bringing additional visibility to what we did. I actually want to give a shout out to Mike of all trades. I finally got a chance to catch his stream, and he did a trailer about the Red Cross during his stream, and then kind of added some additional things. So I thought that was really great, and I feel like I didn't talk a little bit enough about it, but people can look it up on their own. But I thought it was cool to really increase that branding on that side. So for the only thing I feel really bad about, because I'm an event planner, and I'm usually the first to arrive and last to leave when I'm hosting something. Like, it's just how I am. And I usually like to leave places cleaner than I get there, right? I'm a person that makes sure that take care of our trash. And they left a shit ton of trash at Smog City when they were building all the cabinets in the warehouse. And I feel terrible that there was so much, packaging left over that did Justin leave? So that's like the only thing I feel bad about, being local to that place. That I know Arcade1Up is going to hopefully be responsible for helping out with that. And Liv will be great connecting with the local LA guys, who didn't get enough credit, by the way. The unsung heroes of the local LA logistics team. They were fantastic, amazing. The guys that actually packed up 18 pallets to get their unloaded stuff didn't say a word, but they were so amazing. So I still have some things I'd love to do for the brewery. But those are just my little things. But now it's all up to John, Liv, the team, to go through thousands of reservations. That's all on them. You can ask her. There's questions in the chat about, but that's
John D's here in the chat. Good guy everywhere. He says Liv is in charge of direct consumer marketing, so we definitely got the right person to talk to.
There we go. Mm-hmm. So B, is it true that you stole a projector from the event?
It's possible that I commandeered a projector that was lying around while we were cleaning up. So.
We have company, guys. Liv!
Confession. I stole a projector, Liv. I'm sorry.
Good timing.
Oh man, gotta cover my ears.
That's all good. I'm kidding. No, it was all leftover stuff when we had to get out, and so we didn't want to leave anything behind. But how are you?
I'm good. Long weekend. You guys caught me leaving the gym, so looking a little rough. But yeah, how's everyone over there? Did you guys have fun on Saturday?
So much fun. It was awesome.
Good. Fantastic.
Good. We all watched John D get almost made out with like 20 times in the office today.
Wait. Are you saying at the office today everyone was pulling pranks on John? Oh my gosh. The joke doesn't end. Did he continue to say COVID? Yeah.
That's what everyone's just like. Even like our marketing partners and stuff are like, thoughts and prayers to John D. And then it's just like COVID. Yeah, it's going to become a meme. I think someone should create it. Shout out to whoever can create it.
It's out there, and it's spectacular.
Welcome to the YouTube community that will snippet every little thing in any particular stream you're a part of now. So you didn't know that the picture we snapped at the end of the night, that you are now part of a thumbnail, Liv. Apologies, but it was.
We have to ask you, have you gone through the David McIntosh training yet? He has this training. You're supposed to say, like, if we ask you about a title, you're like, we don't talk about titles until nothing is confirmed until it's confirmed.
Yeah,
those are the lines,
exactly. Right? Yeah, I just texted my boss and I said, I'm going to hop on, but I'm not going to give away anything. Just, awareness.
Well, mainly we'd like to know a little bit about your history and what you're going to be doing at Arcade1Up. You don't have to tell us title specific or anything like that. Just a little bit about you. And I apologize. I know probably after this weekend, you were like, these YouTubers. And then all of a sudden you thought you were out, but we're pulling you back in.
Pulling me back in. Yeah. So I have so new to Arcade1Up. Have only been here since like mid-May, end of May, and loving it. Love the fan community. Had so much fun this weekend getting to know everyone and just, truly learning more about the product. But and to someone saying, is it a Wisconsin hoodie? Yeah, go Badgers. I'm a Badger. But yeah, so I come from Hasbro. So I was part of the team that launched Hasbro Pulse, which is Hasbro's direct-to-consumer. And I've done all sorts of, did a lot of different things there, but all the marketing and events. So if you're familiar with PulseCon or FanFest, obviously San Diego Comic-Con, which we have some exciting news about for Arcade1Up actually. But yeah, so I was really heavily kind of led everything for the event side, and then our email, paid media on all of our direct-to-consumer. So direct-to-consumer is near and dear to my heart. So that's a big reason why I came over to Arcade1Up, because they were launching a direct-to-consumer and they needed some direct-to-consumer people, and that's me.
Love it.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Very quickly, we got a super chat here from a friend of ours, console fanboy Zohar. You might have met him at the event on Saturday. Never get a chance to thank Liv before leaving. Just tell her thank you for being nice to me. I harassed her a lot regarding Big Blue and if they had enough. But he wants to say thank you very much.
Thank you. It was so nice to meet. It was so nice to meet you as well. And yeah, Big Blue, huge hit.
John says Liv will be at San Diego Comic-Con.
I will be. Yeah. So this is, can I make an announcement on here? Is that cool?
Yeah, absolutely.
So it hasn't really even gone public yet, so you guys are the first to know, but I just secured a space in North Park, which if you guys are familiar, it's like the brewery area of just about 12 minutes outside from the convention center, and we'll be having a happy hour-ish, kind of as long as people want to come, at this brewery called Ruler Brewery in North Park on the Thursday of San Diego Comic-Con. So that's next Thursday, and we'll have arcades there. We'll do some sort of sales, probably do a giveaway, and yeah, just probably some free beers here and there, and yeah, beers and arcade.
That's
I don't know
awesome.
what more you could want.
So
and
right
then
back into
also
the
at
fire.
San Diego, yeah, right. And then also, if you're at San Diego Comic-Con, we'll have a spot within the Lucas Pavilion because of our pinball machine for Star Wars. Yeah, if you're there, come say hi. But yeah, looking forward to it.
So in the Lucas Pavilion, Star Wars, and there's been no hubbub in the community about anything about Star Wars recently, has there, Justin?
We've been excitedly talking about theories, but
No, I'm just
Star
joking.
Wars
We're not
originally
gonna get in
came.
trouble.
All right, anyway. Well, I think I'm ready to ask her some questions.
You go ahead, sir.
So one of the reasons why we are so excited for you to head up the direct-to-consumer model is because while the big retail items that go to Walmart are for the bigger fans, let's say, those of us in this more niche community are excited about some other titles. So we're going to do, before we get into the questions, we're going to do a little bit of training here. So this is an Arcade1Up community training here. So this game came out in 1982. It's called Robotron. And so Robotron is a big, huge title that everyone in the community is super excited about. Literally, Michael B., who's the host of the show at the very top here, Michael B. has 2 children. He would give up one of those children for an Arcade1Up Robotron. So say it with me, Robotron. Robotron. There we go. Okay, so
Robotron.
All right. So my question is, in general, direct-to-consumer model, do I have it right where it's possible that we would see games that are more niche in that direct-to-consumer model?
Yeah, I think that's, if people are familiar, my background at Hasbro, I launched HasLab, which, that was a crowdsourcing model, and, it did just that, right? It basically said to fans, hey, you want this product that we've never made before, back it, let us know. And so I know Arcade1Up has tried to do something similar before, and we've had a lot of conversation. I know David is very passionate about that as well, and I think there's a really great place there for it, right? Because you hear from the fans, and then you basically are like, hey, let's make this, right? But you have to tell us you want it that bad. So that's an awesome model. But yeah, 100%, as we build out direct to consumer, that's a huge part of it, right? Is looking to the product that you can't get everywhere else. Limited releases, these niche products. Yeah, 100%. That's something that like dear and near to my heart for sure.
So I've got a quick question. The wording on Dragon's Lair was very specific. It said the term private reserve. Is this a buzzword that you guys have been throwing around for maybe your 3/4 scale direct to consumer model going forward, or was it something just specifically for this cab? Or can you say? I'm sorry, sometimes I ask questions.
I don't know enough on that one, so I will have to take a rain check on answering that. But I do like the model of private reserve. So yeah,
or special reserve. That might have been the term. Special reserve. Yeah,
I do like that though, and I think you know what? Maybe we just thought of something on the spot here.
Right. That's very good. So there's some people that are in the community that are very eager to get their favorite cabinet, one that we know that Arcade1Up has done other cabinets owned by the same company, right?
Mm-hmm. Is this the hashtag free Qbert?
Yeah, yes, you're very familiar. That's good. Do you think we should continue to support this type of way to be able to get that feedback to Arcade1Up? Like, how valuable is
I think get loud. I mean, be as nice as possible, but get loud. Like, you want to hear from fans. Again, going back to like, Star Wars fans wanted Jabba's sail barge. That's where that came from, right? Like, people asking for product like that. I don't know if there's any G.I. Joe fans, but they just fully backed Hiss. So yeah,
this tank was awesome. Yeah.
So I think it's and we've listened. In my past, we listened to our G.I. Joe fans. We're really starting to. Hasbro really deliver to them. So I think, so what I would say to fans is get loud. Like, tell us what you want. We're here for you. And I think that's the important part of the direct to consumer model, because you, of course, we're a business. But I think second fold is it's that fan exposure. It's, listening to your fans. It's a place that it's not just a commerce. It's also, the content, the fan community, and all of that is so possible when you have a really successful direct to consumer.
And I'm going to put on all my videos from now on, there's going to be a get loud hashtag.
I love it. Get loud. I love
Get loud. Love it.
That was with the last wave of Arcade1Up cabinets. Get loud.
I can see it now. Get loud for Liv. Let her know what you want, so people know you in the community. Liv, you're about to become a local legend in this YouTube community.
Yeah,
I'm so excited.
You might be responsible for the sentiment, the things we were talking about, what this group wants. And we are, this YouTube community, somewhat a small percentage of the overall fan base of Arcade1Up. But I mean, you see over 300 people here. We saw the engagement at an event that we did on Saturday. It just proved that, there is a way to reach the fan base by direct communication more, which I think there's pockets where you or John or folks, weren't talking to the community, and it left Michael B just making up random streams, talking about it.
Terrible.
He was pulling for topics and was like, all right, I have some new ammunition now. So can we expect to hear more from you more directly versus us trying to pull you back in? I'm just kind of curious about
I think that makes total sense. Obviously, gotta go talk to the rest of the marketing team, but I think John D, and again just because I think a lot of what I've done previously, and I wasn't on like the face of the live streams, but I was on the back end producing them. And so I think that like with our fan streams at Hasbro, like that's something we did every week, and I think that's or every other week, and that's something that's so important, right? Because you want to hear from the brand itself, and you want to hear from the people that are closest, and when you can talk directly with our fans. Thanks, Sean.
We're already moved on from John too. Liv, you're our new contact, and
all hail Liv. We gotta get remember when Zohar was making those Bobby Vu videos, like all praise Bobby Vu? We need an all praise Liv video.
Okay, all right. Ask you shall receive, but I think it's great to hear, Liv, just that you have that foresight for and once I heard about your background and the craziness that those fans can be, that this community is probably a smaller percentage of it, but just as passionate, I would
Yeah.
say. So being able to, deal with those folks and reaching that fandom level of it. And I know you're still learning the product. My biggest moment and proud moment for Liv was when she finally knew the difference between a partycade and a countercade. Because before the event, she didn't have a sense of the size of all the products. It's hard, right?
Yeah.
But I'm glad that like she's starting to get us more and know exactly what's popular more. And hopefully you're starting to see that, and you will, like, pretty quickly.
Yeah.
This community will tell you what people want very, very quickly.
Wow,
John,
John himself.
This is going to the American Red Cross, right? This 20?
This will, yes.
We
all
love that.
all super chats that I told people not to do it, but all super chats put here tonight, I'll donate that to the Red Cross.
Thanks.
Oh,
Yeah, I think
thank you.
I think that was another and I guess there's two things that really spoke to me this weekend was the fans were really, truly, you guys are amazing. Like, I think that I wasn't expecting it to go so well. Like, I was expecting it to go well, but this like blew everyone's mind. And I think the positivity that was there, both within the stream. I mean, you guys were streaming for 8 to 9 hours. Like, that's crazy. And there was so much positivity. The numbers were insane. And I think that just like, you don't get that everywhere. You get people that, are fans that sometimes are, not being as nice or not being as, community focused. And this, I just didn't feel that. And even when we had lines at at Smog City and, we were working through some stuff with inventory, like, everyone was really positive. Like, no one raised their voice at me. Like, I can remember San Diego Comic-Cons getting yelled at. Like, and this is kind of that, this is so
line cutters, all these good things.
Line cutters. Everyone was really, really respectful. And I think that says so much volume about this community.
Here's the difference about this community too, in terms of home arcades and what arcades actually do, which is you are meant to play with others in a social environment. And so there's this kind of attachment that we watch other content creators and follow other people because we like seeing other people's arcades and wanting that. Toy collectors are different beasts. They just want to collect. Like, and I did a stream with Justin. I'm also a toy collector / hoarder. Thank you, Justin.
Yeah.
I'm trying to, control myself. But as a hoarder collection, the mentality is I just need my stuff. I could care less about you until I get my stuff, and then we can talk. But there's not that community aspect. I'm not in line at the Hasbro booth at Comic-Con being like, what's your collection look like? Let's play a game and have a beer over getting some lightsabers or some Black Series stuff, right? There's just a different level of connection with this community so for a sale this weekend, it wasn't just a sale. That was the thing. If that was one of the original goals, to just do a sale, you could have did that without having the community side of it. But it just checks so many boxes to have that, and it shows the power of doing events like that. But I was curious that you mentioned Comic-Con. Are there more down the line, or is that kind of just it for now?
More of events.
People have been wanting more of this type of the community sale event, or just other things like.
What we had some postmortems today. We're going to continue them through the week. But I will say, I think this, really opened up a lot of people's eyes to what we can do, what the community wants. And I think that, I will say, I don't have any dates and we don't have anything, really lined up yet, but it's definitely something that was a true success all the way up to senior leadership agrees on that. And, it was, I think we can only get better. And I would say I see some in our future.
All right, let's start the hashtag now. Arcade1UpCon 2024.
I love that.
Really quickly, $2 super chat. BOE monitor early only. You'll hear that a lot in this community. If people like the BOE monitors you guys had, but I do want to say one thing about super chat. I explained this. I don't know if I did a very good job, but I will say this. Thank you very much for the super chats. I would prefer if people donated directly to the link, because with the super chats, YouTube takes a cut of it. When you donate directly, more of the funds go directly to the charity. So do it that way, please.
We love that.
Yeah.
I guess. On the American Red Cross front, like, was everyone excited? I know we haven't shared out the number and it's probably coming soon, but very in kind of a safe space, I would say the number was really nice so far, what we're looking at. And so do you feel like your team is happy with how everything went?
For the planning amount of time that we put into it and the quick turn on results on just an early return, early in our fiscal year, which started July 1, this is already a great kind of just kickstart to extra revenue that they weren't planning on. And this truly was a secondary kind of component to the event itself. And I think it did add some extra awareness and some brand and created that community cause. But yeah, as I debrief about how did this even happen with the Tiltify and explain back to the consumer marketing team that like we just raised $5,000 in a day. Like, could this be something that other chapters and regions do, like to partner with their own companies? And it's gonna definitely raise some eyebrows on doing things like this more. And just have the community to thank and all the content creators that really pitched in to create lightning in a bottle. So I hope if things happen in the future, we can replicate some of the successes and check some of those boxes and find other charities to support and things like that too. But I think it was a perfect storm. I wasn't expecting, honestly, over $5,000 donations plus the 5% that hasn't been calculated yet. That's just really amazing to me, honestly.
I know, I think so too. I agree.
It's so good. Cool.
Yeah, I think it's always really important, right, to have that philanthropy piece. Again, it goes back not just commerce, and there's like commerce, there's content, there's this fan exposure, but being able to also just like, just I would say like tie an event up with like some philanthropy. I think that's like that to me makes going to work every day worth it.
I hope Arcade1Up can do that more. This might have been the first time that we've seen that charitable contribution, and there's always deep discounts on things, but hey, donate to this organization or donate blood or do something and get a discount on a cab. That extra sentiment for both organizations and that partnership, I can see some potential long-term relationship you guys can benefit from.
For sure. Yeah, we actually did. It was not as big because it was what we did with Children's Hospital of LA. I had worked with them on a few of my events at Hasbro, and they had a Walk and Play LA, which is a festival and walk to basically support their children's hospital, and we built out a mini arcade for the kids, and then we were able to donate about 30 cabinets to like the highest fundraiser. So that was awesome. That was a smaller, it wasn't as like in the fan, it was a people paid to be there, but yeah, it was also awesome. And I think not only is it, brand awareness, it's also, as you said, like doing something, giving back, and that's huge for companies.
Really quickly, I just got to jump in and say this. So Goofyfoot, friend of the channel, wants a Williams Classic Multicade. I think Goofyfoot's onto something, but it should be called a Robotron cabinet, Goofyfoot. Thank you very much. Rocco Rinaldi, he suggests New York City Comic Con might be another option for you guys to do.
Yeah, I mean, mom's a word right now, but
all right, I may need to head out. So thank you all for having me on, and was able to connect some dots with Liv. Enjoy the rest of your show. Ask her some hard questions because you never know if they'll let her back on the show. So I'll see you guys later.
CB. Yeah, Liv, thank you so much for doing this.
Yeah,
it's a treat. And I've got to tell you personally, what you're explaining is like pretty much my dream. And a lot of us in the community have been banging our heads and saying, when will they listen? You're coming out and you're like, we're going to listen.
Yeah, no, it's so important, right? I think, it's the most important. Like, we wouldn't be a company without fans, right? Like, you purchase, but you also help grow the company. And I think what's really unique about Arcade1Up with a lot of people is, they tell their friends about it, or, people come over and they see arcades and they're like, wow, I can get an arcade in my house. Like, that's so cool. Like, that's a statement piece. If you're not even that big of a fan, but then you get in and you see, and there's just, there's so much, the affinity to it, but also the love for it. And just, I think if you guys keep showing up and, telling us what you want and, giving us, really how you feel and stuff, I think that's huge. And the biggest thing that we can do is listen.
Yeah. And I love the fact this is what me and Justin have been talking about the whole time. You guys are sometimes when you're dealing with retailers, I mean, there are limitations to what you can do, but direct to consumer and special products, like I'm sure you've been doing with Hasbro, that's where this gets interesting. That's where the strings aren't really there that they normally would be. And you really can get into that fan service. So it's so cool to see somebody like you heading that up for Arcade1Up right now. So thank you very much.
Yeah, of course. I'm excited.
Very cool.
Awesome. Any other questions? I see a lot coming up. I know John answered. Yeah, we're doing the best we can on the reservations to buy. So we're working through them. And yeah, we're trying to as quick. We should have an update tomorrow on just kind of where we are, and then we'll start sending out those emails. But yeah, I think it's it's a testament to you all, and how great of fans you are that you're like willing to wait and work through us with this process. But yeah, so we appreciate your patience, but we know it'll be worth it. I think you saw like those products, it's worth it.
Charlie Chuck here in the chat says it took about 3 minutes to become a Liv fan.
Thanks, Charlie Chuck. Only took about a minute to become a Charlie Chuck fan, so there we go.
He's good people. He's good people. So we've also got Sean Russell. Any chance more countercades? I don't know what he means by that, but I think that he says there's a market for more countercades. We'll see there. This is going to be a challenge for you guys, and that's more a question for John, I do believe. We need Nintendo X Arcade1Up. Believe me, I think Arcade1Up knows.
Yeah.
Yeah, Nintendo would be a great partner to have one day.
Justin, do you have any more questions?
Let's see.
He said he had lots. Let's see.
I have more questions, but I don't know how long we can go on for. So.
Yeah, I don't want to keep you too long either, Liv.
No,
That's
you're good. Yeah, I just have to, get dinner at some point. But yeah, if there's a few more, I can stay on for a few more minutes. If there's anything else.
Yeah, with direct to consumer, I mean, so far what we've seen so far, is like the specialty arcades coming just out of the blue on the website, and the only really reason we know they're direct to consumer is that you can't find them on retailers, and I'm wondering if there's any plans to change that. Some of the feedback we've got from the community is to kind of feel like they're more a part of the process, if possible, where it's like
a fan vote.
Yeah, like a fan vote. Like the next direct-to-consumer cabinet to come out could be one of these titles in these formats, Because what if someone wants, we don't know, what if they want a Qbert, but they want an XL version, or maybe they're like, no, give us Qbert, but a countercade or a partycade version.
Yeah. Yeah, I think fan votes are an awesome technique, right? I think, it's unique because you're listening to the fans, right? But they're also, I think a lot of times within the product, I think you learn something from fan votes because you hear what people want the most of, but then it's also like, we kind of had an idea you wanted to make that product, but you just like needed the extra push from your fans. And so I think fan votes are a great way to connect with the community, and also be like, it really gets the community involved, right? And so I think, why not? Do something.
A part of direct to consumer, will there be other things beyond just cabinets, like say t-shirts with Arcade1Up logo on them? Maybe we get more of those.
Yeah, I mean, you guys, we were selling them at the event. I had some made, so I'm gonna try to get some for San Diego, hopefully. And then I think I think t-shirts. I think people have been asking us about hats. I want a hat. I don't know where my Arcade1Up hat is, but I would love that. Merch is great, right? Like, especially like again, limited run merch or stuff that's so cool. I don't know if people saw the Stranger Things shirt that we did, but like super cool. We had like a Stranger Things shirt. I think it was my first week here. But yeah, I think any of that, like, merch is awesome. I mean, you go, like, when I go to a music festival or something, like, I don't need to spend the $30 or $50 on a hat, but I'm like, hey, or on the vinyl, but for sure I'm gonna get it. But yeah.
So I've got an idea for a shirt. I don't know if it's possible, but maybe you might have to do a Kickstarter. But it's just a plain shirt, and then it has a square in it with a picture from your event this past weekend with John saying, "It's COVID." Is that possible?
I mean, I might just start screen printing to get that. I mean, this is...
John's got to work on the license with the lady. I think her name's Jennifer. You got to go talk to Jennifer and get the license from her.
We all agreed, though. John did look so great. Like, his little get up, he was having a few. He was having a good time. And, we love it. We loved it. It was a whole look, being at the brewery and then seeing this guy just fully live streaming, what is he doing? But
Rockstar.
Yeah.
I might be bursting a bubble, but did you guys get the feedback that she was trolling John? That she's a fan.
Yeah, it
Oh.
was a setup.
It was
Apparently.
a setup. She
Oh,
was
we didn't
watching
know
the
that.
stream
Yeah.
live. And
Did John know that?
He
But
knows
we told him
now.
after, yeah.
I
Oh
told
He
my
didn't know
God,
at the
no.
time.
We just thought she was some random like a
She's-
bar patron.
See, yeah, I wish I didn't know, because it kind of ruins the
Sorry.
magic of it.
I
Sorry, ruined the
know.
magic. No,
man.
her husband reached out to me the next day and was like, "Hey, man, I'm a part of the community." He's like, yeah. Anyway, I think it actually makes it even a funnier story because she was like, "I'm gonna go mess with John. I'm gonna go meet him."
COVID.
No, I'm sorry, COVID.
And he was so quick on it. Like,
He was.
wow. I need to use that when I'm out and someone comes up to me like,
No,
he's
COVID.
COVID.
6 Co-op Pop says Arcade1Up documentary from design to retail. I think this is going to be the bonus feature on the Revolution X cab. I'll get back to you about that.
But no, that's amazing, right? Like the Netflix series about like all the different toy companies and stuff, the toys that made us, like that is so cool and everything. And I think the stories that we heard today or heard on Saturday from some fans, like we had a fan that was there, and he had traveled from New York, and he had just been talking about like his like for at middle school, he would like his dad would give him like $2 in quarters, and he would run to the arcade and play. I forget what game it is because it was a long day, but he would play that game, and then he had it there, and it was just this like whole thing. And then he was like, I had to be home by 5 though for dinner. And I think just like is that, and I know nostalgia is a word that I feel like we use so much, but it is so true, right? It's it brings you back to that time you were a kid. And I think the other amazing part for me was watching so many dads and like moms play with their kids, play the games with their kids, and like just the happiness that brought, and just seeing like this connectivity between generations. That was awesome.
That's amazing.
So, Liv, I'm going to ask a difficult question now. One of the things that's been brought up in the community a lot is people want specific cabinets, and the question has been brought up a couple times. Is there a possibility you guys would be interested in doing some kind of Kickstarter or, crowd-funded event for a specific cab? Is that something, I don't know if you can say, I'm sorry, again, I ask these questions, I probably shouldn't. Is that something that you think would be interesting for direct consumer to look at?
Yeah, I think like, super similar to the HasLab model. I've, worked through a lot of those campaigns. And yeah, I think it's a really interesting model. And it also is, going back to listening to the fan community, like, you really, I feel like you listen, with something like Qbert, you listen, to what your fans want. And then, you put it out there, and also like, you don't make it until, you have people that are committed to it. Right. And so I think, it's kind of like a win-win to me. I know it's hard because there's a lot that goes into it, right? But to me, something like that is definitely a win-win, because you're basically know that people want it, right? And then you're developing it. So yeah, I think I've started the conversation there, so we'll just have to see.
Yes, love to hear it.
Oh,
another thing I want to mention, you guys have done a Kickstarter in the past for another product that you guys have, the Infinity Game Table. One of the big selling points from that was your CEO, Scott Bacharach. The guy is a natural salesman. You got to convince him to come out on the camera more often, talk about the product. He's so charismatic, and it just drives me nuts. Like, you have this nuclear weapon of sales just sitting behind a table and not out there in the community.
You got to give him more reassurance, because I've met Scott, and we did some live shows together, and I was kind of like producing that, and there was this moment of like, as the producer, I was like, okay, you're gonna stand here, and he's like a CEO, and he got nervous, and it's like, just be yourself. And then, I think he needs that reassurance. And then he came on one of our shows and then was nervous about doing it again because like he's amazing, but he I don't know, he has imposter syndrome or something.
Well, maybe I can play the new girl and say, hey, Scott, I heard, all these people want you on the live stream. Would you ever do one? And maybe just play a little silly and new.
I need your help.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love it.
Awesome.
Well, awesome.
Yeah, guys, and I don't mean to cut this short, but I can see
No.
my wife moving back and forth there in the hallway,
Yeah,
which means probably 40 minutes past when I should be. So I want to say, Liv, thank you so much.
Yes,
I never
thank
in
you.
the world imagined by putting you in the thumbnail we would somehow drag you into this, but thank you very much.
Of course. Yeah. Thank you guys so much. And thanks for showing up. Thanks for, spending Saturday with us, both at Smog City and also, online. We love it. I think we'll do more of them. But yeah, and if you're in the San Diego area next week, follow us on social, Arcade1Up Official, and check out what we have in store for that weekend.
Awesome possum.
Thank you so much.
So good.
Bye.
All right. Good night, everybody.
Good night.